On May the 13th, 1917, in Cova de Iria, 3 children were tending their flock of sheep when they witnessed the supernatural apparition of a beautiful young lady. Almost 8 months had passed since the apparition of the angel. The children described the young lady as brighter than the sun, dressed in a white mantle edged with gold and holding a rosary in her hand. She asked the children to devote themselves to the Holy Trinity and to pray the rosary every day in order to bring peace to the world. The little shepherds understood that this woman was the Virgin Mary. She asked them to come to the same place on every 13th day of each month, which they did, thus totaling the number of apparitions to 6 between the months of May and October of the year 1917. The Virgin Mary also entrusted 3 secrets to the children. The first secret was a vision of hell and the suffering of sinners. The second secret was a prediction of the end of the Great War and the beginning of another unless people converted and repented. The Virgin Mary requested the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart. This secret was interpreted as a warning of the spreading of atheistic regimes, and indeed the communist revolution struck Russia on the same year as the apparitions. The third secret was a vision of the death of the Pope and of other religious figures. This latter secret was not disclosed to the public until the year 2000. It refers to the attempted murder of St. John Paul II. Later on, the Pope himself thanked Mary of Fatima for saving his life. The assassination attempt happened in Rome on May the 13th, 1981. Jacinta Pereiro Marto from Aljustrel, niece of Francisco and Jacinta, says that her father, João, was several times with his little siblings and cousin Lucia during the Marian apparitions.
O meu pai tinha 2 anos mais que Francisco.
My father was 2 years older than Francisco. My father had the honor of being there when the lady appeared at Valinhos. This happened in August. After that, they had all been at the apparition in Villanova de Oren. My father was there but didn't see anything. There were only Francisco, Jacinta, and Lucia, and my father. But he said that, however much he opened his eyes, he couldn't see anything.
Lucia had a special role during the apparitions, as the Virgin spoke only to her.
He would say that he too wanted to see the Virgin, because when this apparition occurred, Jacinta wasn't there, but he was. And Lucia asked him to go get his sister, and he didn't want to, because he wanted to witness the apparition. But in the end, he did go look for Jacinta, and only when Jacinta arrived, then the lady appeared. But João didn't see anything, and they would ask him, "Why didn't you see anything?" And he'd say, "Well, how come Lucia saw, heard, and spoke? And Jacinta saw and heard, but Francisco saw but didn't either hear or speak. Well, I didn't see, didn't hear, and didn't speak either." He was always moved when he'd say this, because he had seen nothing.
Although they were accompanied by friends or siblings, only these 3 children saw the Virgin Mary during the apparitions. And during the last of them, the 3 little shepherds were surrounded by a crowd of 70,000 people who all saw the miracle of the sun.
No, my father, 11 years old at the time, would say, "I didn't go because everybody was saying that if the miracle did not happen, the whole family would die. And so he stayed home. He was afraid. And because he was afraid to die, he wasn't there when the miracle of the sun occurred. Just like he was at the apparition at Valinhos, but nothing happened, he wasn't at the miracle of the sun. He was afraid he would die."
Soon after the apparitions, the Virgin Mary took to heaven her 2 smaller shepherds, just as she had promised them. Francisco Marto died at the age of 10 on April the 4th, 1919, and Jacinta died at the age of 9 in February of 1920. Lucia offered her life to the service of God and chose the consecrated life. She continued to report private visions throughout her life.